So today we're going to work on accident prevention, which includes things like balance and proprioception and coordination. And we're going to work on some strengthening and some ways to reduce any pain that you might be experiencing at the moment. So if you get stiff and achy, or if you have got things going on in your body that you find uncomfortable, then these will hopefully release them. So starting with alignment, we're going to start by bringing your palms towards the front of your chair. That's it. And then finding hip width apart. If you bring your fists together between your knees, that generally gives you hip width apart. And then look at your heels and see if you can get your heels to align underneath your knees. And then you've got some nice train tracks in front of you and a nice solid base. And we're going to start with pelvic tilts. So we're going to very gently tilt the pubic bone towards the nose and then the pubic bone down towards the toes. And it's very small, very kind of small and mindful and gentle movements. And this starts helping you warm up your pelvis and your hips and your lower back. That's it. You can do whatever you like with your hands. I tend to put them around here so you can see what I'm doing, but some people prefer to relax them or let them hang. That's it. Well done. Does that feel okay for you all? Good. Okay. So I would like you to now get this movement smaller and smaller until you find your point in the middle. And then I'd like you to hold that point. And for today, that's going to be your neutral. So it's going to be a stable lower part of your spine. And then we're going to draw the shoulders forward. So you're rolling them forward, and notice what happens with your hands. You might notice they face backwards. And then, perfect. Roll them back, and you might notice it opens up your chest and your hands will face forward. So we're going to keep doing that, exploring this one's a very typical posture, and this one is our new posture that we're going to go for. So, and again, so this is your final, I'm not going to call it naughty or bad posture, and open. So we're going to go with open chest, and I'd like your hands to face forward and then gently circle the shoulders. So this is like the antithesis to sitting at a desk and working hard, by opening up everything and starting to activate the muscles in the thoracic region of your spine. That's it. And when you do this, you could even breathe. You could breathe really deeply and out again and really fill up those lungs. So really working to open up the chest. That's it. By the way, my notes are just there, just in case you're wondering why I keep staring downwards. That's it. And then final one, and then rest your hands on your lap, ideally with your palms upwards if it's comfortable to you. And we're going to draw a great big figure of 8 with our noses, but the figure of 8's on its side. So we're going to come down and around on one side, and then down and around on the other side. Now, if you've got any elements of hypermobility or EDS, please be mindful of your movements. I don't want you to go too far. So we're looking after your necks, but we're also giving your body a chance to mobilise. That's it. Now see if you could go the other way. So changing direction. Well done. And you've all remembered not to hang your heads backwards. That's amazing. Okay. And then coming back towards me. And if you get pretty tense here in this region here, this is a really nice stretch for it. So we're going to bring our chins down towards our chests and then tilt the chin towards one armpit and breathe deeply there. So we'll try and relax your shoulders as you do this. So nice deep breaths. And then return your head back towards me. That's it. And then back down towards your chest and to the other side, the other armpits, and give a big sniff. So nice deep breathing into your rib cage. One more deep breath. And then bring your heads back towards me. So all okay so far? Good. Perfect. We're going to go and do some box breathing. Has anyone ever done box breathing before? No? I think Diane has. Yeah, so breathing to a count of 4. So what we're going to do is breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold for 4. So it's like we're drawing a box with our breath. This is a really good way to regulate your autonomic nervous system, which can lower your blood pressure, it can lower your heart rate, it can release stress, and most importantly, it can release pain and tension. So we'll do it together. If at any point you feel dizzy or you just want to breathe normally, feel free. Okay, I don't want you to suddenly. So we're going to breathe in 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3, 4. Breathing in 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3, 4. Breathing out 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3, 4. Final 1, 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3, 4. Breathing out 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3, 4, and then allow your breath to move normally and evenly. And we're going to move into proprioception. So proprioception is our awareness of our body in space and time. So if you've ever been asked to do this test here, if you've been drinking, your proprioception will have gone, okay? If you've been taking drugs as well, so that's why the police often use this version here. Also, proprioception, when you have issues with pain, when you have chronic illnesses, often our proprioception is one of the first things to go because our body is working so hard with everything else that's going on in it that it just vanishes. So, we're going to start with closing our eyes. And I want you to send your attention down towards your feet. And remember, if it's uncomfortable closing your eyes, you can have them open, maybe soften your gaze or look away. I want you to think about your feet and feel where the weight is distributed. And this could be across the whole of your body. So are you feeling more weight in your bum against the chair or your feet against the floor? And then with your feet, are you feeling more weight towards the outside or the heels? Maybe even the inside of your feet or in the toes? And do you feel like the weight is sort of scattered differently on one foot versus the other? Or do you feel like they're evenly pushed down into the floor? Or maybe you feel like one side is bearing more heavily down than the other. And so without judgment and without changing anything, see if you just can really connect with each one of your toes. So moving from your little toe to the next one along, and the next, and the next, and then the big toe. And feel how the arch lifts away from the floor unless your arch is dropped. So now you've connected with your toes, we're going to move slightly up. So do you feel like you're holding your ankles straight? Do you feel like you're bringing tension into your knees? And do you feel like your knees are still in that hip width apart train track position that we did at the start? Maybe you're gripping your glutes, trying to sit upright. So doing this on a regular basis is a really good way to quieten your mind, but also to hone in on your ability to connect with that sixth sense. And the sixth sense is your proprioception. So we're going to keep the eyes shut and then bring the hands out. So the hands are level towards the shoulders on either side of you. And then I'd like you to look at where your hands are and see if you have managed to get them level with your shoulders, and just take note whether they're both the same in terms of how far back they are, or maybe one was closer towards your nose than the other. So, and then shutting your eyes again and bring the fingertips together, so the little fingers to each other and the thumbs, and just take note whether that was easy for you or whether you needed to find each other. So did your little fingers need to find each other? And then open up the hands to shoulder height again, still keeping your eyes shut if that's comfortable to you, and bringing them together. And each time you do this, it should get a little bit easier. You should be able to get closer and closer to each other. And I'm sure you can understand how this is really good at accident prevention. I'm a classic person who traps my fingers in doors and trips over my own feet. And this really, really helps. So your arms might be getting a bit tired now. If you want to, give yourself one more. And then release the arms and give them a shake, and you can open your eyes again if you want to. That's it. And were you surprised at the effect? And were you surprised that you managed to get your fingers together again?
Or missed.
Oh, and I missed to start with. Did it get any better, or is this something we're going to have to practice?
No, it did. Got better.
Got better and I went wrong again on the last one.
Yeah. Okay, the other one that you've probably done as a child, or if you've got children or grandchildren, you might have done, is head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Yeah. And this is a very, very good activity to close your eyes and touch your head and touch your shoulders and touch your knees. Maybe not touch your toes because they're a long way down unless it feels comfortable to you. And then coming back up again, head and shoulders, knees and toes. And you could even at this point go knees and toes, knees and toes. And by touching these areas, you are making sure that those neural pathways are connected. So it's a great thing to do at any point. And I do wonder if that's where this came from with children, not just about identifying body parts. How about the next part, which was eyes and ears and mouth and nose? So try that, eyes, ears, mouth and nose. Keep repeating it. And then final, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. I never thought I would get adults to do head, shoulders, knees and toes, but to me it just makes perfect sense. So by touching those areas, if you are beginning to get any numbness in any of the areas, like some people get numbness around their toes, or it's basically extremities usually, or sometimes pelvic floor goes numb too. It's the actual starting to think about those areas, and you can create new neural pathways by connecting with those areas. So that's proprioception. Balance is the next one. Who's good at balance in this group? No. Okay. So the balance is your sense of body's alignment, basically. And not all of that, well, nobody is completely symmetrical, but sometimes when there's an imbalance in our bodies, balancing can be difficult, as can balancing if you've got any type of hearing or sight issues. So it might not be loss, it might be something else going on with ears or eyes, and that can also really impact your balance. But ideally we need balance because to keep us upright and stable. So you can do this sitting on a chair. So make sure you've got lots of chair under your bum, but you're still towards the front. And then if you're comfortable to, I'd like you to hinge back, but lift up the tummy as you hinge back. So pull the belly button back just a touch as you hinge, and see if you can hinge back just enough to kiss the chair. It's somewhere there, and then come back forward. So nice and slow. And when I say hinge, what we're trying to do is keep the spine in a nice long line, and we're hinging at the hips as we move forward and back. That's it. And try this without your hands touching anything. You could hold the hands out. That's it. And see how different it is if you did exactly the same, but you lifted a leg. So it amazes me how we can enhance our balance, even with sitting in a chair. But this is a really nice thing to do. And if you're sat at a desk a lot, this is a good one you could do, especially if you're on your own.
I'm waiting for my roommate to come in at some point.
Try the other leg and just notice if one side is easier than the other. And then explore how it feels to balance on just your bum cheeks. It's a bit harder, takes a bit of effort, doesn't it? So we're not going to hold it for too long. Well done. And then do some gentle pelvic tilts, because that's a loading on your lower back, so we just want to ease it out a bit. Okay, so that's balance. Balance is interesting to teach when you're sitting on a chair, but there's all sorts of things we could do. I'm just being nice to you at the moment because we're only week 2, but we will build it up, okay? Right, the next one is coordination. So the ability to move different parts of your bodies together or even separately, and to be able to do it easily and well. So we're going to start with arm raising. So make sure you've got plenty of bum on the chair again, but you're not leaning back unless you want to take a break, in which case that's fine. And we're going to draw both arms up at the same time to start with. That's it. And then both arms down. And then we're going to draw the one arm up. That's it. And then draw that one down as the other goes up. Good. So that's okay, isn't it? It's not too hard. We can do that one. Cool. So now we're going to cross at the front. And then we're going to circle around. Yeah? Just double check you don't whack anything on your sides. So we're crossing at the front and circling around the sides. That's it. Is that okay? Yeah, you've all got it now. I'm using my imagination with you. It's absolutely fine if I can't see you. And then we're going to cross at the front and cross again at the front and circle around the other way. You're gorgeous, well done. Now, usually when I teach this class, this move, everyone's like this. But you did it. That's it. Well done. Okay, now we're going to bring our legs in. Okay, so we're going to slide one leg forward and the opposite arm up. And then return. And slide the other leg forward and the opposite arm up. So this is Dying Bug. It's one of the more modern Pilates moves. Have you ever done Dying Bug before? No?
Well, possibly, but I don't remember. If you've done it before, probably.
I probably have. That's it. And you can add load to this one and make it a bit harder by leaning back slightly but without touching the chair, and then lifting the leg. And then return. And the other one. Now, to protect your spines, I'd like you to pull your belly button back just a little bit to stabilise this move. So what happens is when you activate your TVA, which we spoke about last week, so it's my favourite core sit muscle, holds your organs in place and makes you really strong. It also activates the muscles all the way up your spine, your multifidus muscles. And so by just pulling your belly button back, you can really make your spine so much stronger. Okay, let's do one more. That's it. And then come back up again. And once again, gentle pelvic tilts to ease everything out. That's it. Are there any questions so far? Are you all doing okay? Okay. Right, let's go to the next page. Control. So we're basically exploring each of the Pilates principles. Joseph Pilates invented Pilates, but he called it contrology. And it was all about controlled movement. And he had a sequence of 34 moves for mat work that went from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And everything had to be in full control. And you weren't at the mercy of your own body, you were in control of your body. So he said that every Pilates exercise must be done with complete muscular control. No body part is left to its own devices. And it's all a conscious, deliberate movement. And this principle of control extends to the mind as well as the body. And as you learn to use it, you'll control your movements with intention. So generally, you'll notice that when we talk about Pilates and we set ourselves up for a movement, I always get you to sit up tall. I make sure everything is in the perfect position, because then you are taking control over your body and you know exactly where it is. So generally, people who've got chronic illnesses find it very difficult to control their bodies. Often you disconnect your mind from your body to try and escape from the pain and discomfort. And often we tend to squirm and click muscles and things like that just aren't controlled movements. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sit really tall. So we're setting ourselves up. And then with your back, just double check you suddenly haven't tilted your pelvis forward and arched your spine. Just double check that you're in a nice straight line. That's it. And then pull your belly button back just an inch. We're going to reach down on one side, and I'd like you to notice if you're feeling anything on the opposite side. So you might feel some muscles working, you might feel a bit of tightness in your back, and then come back up and over to the other side. So pay attention to the muscles that are activating. Pay attention how far you're able to go on one side compared to the other. That's it. And then bring the arms out, and once again, control by keeping the shoulders down. So with intent, you have lifted just the arms, not everything. Okay, and then just making sure you've got space around you. Rotate. And just notice once again how far your little finger goes and return back to me. And then the other way. And then return back to me. So those shoulders are strong and away from your ears as you do this. And you're paying real attention to where your body is going. And you're moving gently and slowly with control. Now, I'm going to challenge your arms by circling them. If you need to rest, please do. If you're suddenly starting to notice that you're getting tension here, instead of around here, please rest the arms and join again if you want to. It's very, very normal. So your body always goes for the easiest move possible. And often the trapezius muscles like to take over because they're bullies. That's it. Okay. And then we're going to lower the arms and slide a leg up and circle at the ankle. So with this one, notice if it feels better to hinge, or if it feels better to sit upright. Choose what works best for you as you do this. And while you're doing this one, let's do the wrists as well. Well done. And notice if you've automatically pulled your belly button back because we practiced it earlier, so your body might have remembered to do it. Should we go the other way? That's it. Well done. And then come upright again, and we're going to swap legs, so bring the other leg up. This time we're going to write our names with our feet and our ankles. So lift up the tummy as you do this. Try not to Lean back against the chair unless you need a break. It's making me hot, this one now. Woo! And then release. Do you want to do it backwards as well? No, we won't, don't worry. Okay. And I want to bring some strengthening in because I've done lots of talking today and teaching you about the principles of Pilates, but I want to get your bums activating. If you sit on your bums for a lot of the time, and if you're a student or a teacher or an academic, you're bound to be sitting on your bum quite a lot of the time. And what happens is the muscles in your bum flatten and they kind of go flat against the chair. And then we get a bit flat in the bum, which means that the glutes aren't activating how we want them to. And then it's very difficult to squeeze one glute and then release because the bum is forgetting how to activate. So we're going to, what's great is we've got the chair for feedback, squeeze one buttock and the chair will give you that feedback. And to start with, you might be squeezing both buttocks at the same time, and that's absolutely fine. But with intent, in time, you will get that one and then try the other. That's it. And something that can help is if you push the foot down into the floor a bit as well. That's it. And then release. Then it's really tempting to just rock side to side. But what I want you to do is squeeze one buttock, come back, and then squeeze the other buttock and come back. Now, if there's one piece of homework that you do in the rest of this week, I highly recommend isolating the squeeze between one buttock and the other.
Put headphones on if you want.
That's it. So one at a time. That's the joy about being in an office, isn't it? You get to show how amazing you are at exercise. Okay, a challenge for you. Pulse them at separate times. That's it. So you'll end up being a bit wiggly underneath. And these are so good. These will really start warming up your bum and getting some nice roundness back into it again. That's it. And then release. Oh, did that warm up your buttocks? Good. That's what I wanted. So next week, I'm not going to check if you've done that as homework or not. But if you want to do it, and if you're on your own, feel free to do the slow ones, the slow activations, and then feel free to do the quick ones. And then you're doing different types of muscle activation there, which is really, really good for you. I've run over. Are you happy to continue for a couple more minutes? Yeah, cool. So let's open the legs a little bit wider. And just obviously you'll notice I step back a bit in my chair. That's just to make sure I don't plop off down the front, so make sure you do the same. And then we're going to lean forward and we're going to arch the spine. And this is more of a cat and then a cow. So I like to imagine the cow is where the udders are heavy and they're hanging forward. And then the cat is the really angry, arching its back cat. So if I go sideways onto you, so the cat and then the cow. That's it. So this is flexion and extension of the spine. Another really good move for you to do. And because we're sitting on our chairs, we're not loading, so we're not at risk of hurting anything, especially if you've got anything to do with osteoporosis or ruptured discs in your back. And then sitting tall again, and we're going to either put the hand or the elbow on one knee. And you might already notice you're getting a bit of a stretch down here. So if you're prone to sciatica or sacroiliac joint issues, what you're doing now is you're stretching the quadratus laborum muscle here. And you can stretch it even more by pushing the opposite arm forward. So as you push the hip back and the arm forward, you should get a nice stretch there. This is another really nice one for people who sit. And now lift up your belly. So once again, activate the belly button as you come up and over towards the other side and reach. That's it. So you're pushing your opposite hip away from the arm and you're reaching. And then try it again. This time, I'd like you to reach across your body to the side. So instead of forwards at a diagonal, it's towards the side. That's it. And then swap sides. Well done. And then come back to me, and we're going to undulate the spine, so gentle circles. And then go the other way as well. That's it. And because we've sat for a period of time, if you flex the foot, but try not to let the knee hang backwards, so the foot will be in front, I'm just putting it to the side so you can see what I was doing, and then lean forward on the bent knee and stick the tailbone up towards the back of your head. And that'll help lengthen the muscles that shorten when you're sitting. So all the way down your hamstrings, your calf muscles, you can lean even further forward if it feels good. And then we're going to lift back up and swap the other way. So flexing the foot and then resting on the bent supporting knee, sticking your tailbone up towards the back of your head and breathing deeply. And then coming back up. And we're going to do one gorgeous roll down to open up your back. So we're going to breathe in, lifting the arms up. And exhale, press the hands down past your chest. That's it. Opening up the chest, breathing in. And scooping the belly once more as you roll down. Imagine each vertebra one at a time unstacking. And if you need to look after your spine, put your hands on your knees so you're not loading your back. And then at the bottom, take a breath in. Exhale, roll your way back up. And in celebration of your controlled movement, proprioception and balance, we're going to reach the hands up towards the sky, breathing in. And exhale, press those hands down past your chest. Well done, that's in honour of amazing bodies and controlled movement.